Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we will finally be doing the Ozzy Osbourne discography ranking. That's right, I've talked about this thing since like 2023. It's 2024. And yeah, I have very poor time management if you couldn't tell. So let's get into this. So number 13, Undercover. Not a bad album, but it certainly isn't great. There are very hit or miss covers on this thing. You know, I like Ozzy's cover of Mississippi Queen. I like Ozzy's cover of Woman and 21st Century Schizoid Man. I absolutely hate Ozzy's cover of All the Young Dudes. That's awful. Ugh. Fire is probably my favorite song off this album that Ozzy did a cover of. Working Class Hero is cool, and Sympathy for the Devil, that's a cool song too. But Fire is most definitely my favorite off this album. The rest is kind of the songs I didn't mention are just kind of in my opinion. And, yeah, it's definitely Ozzy's weakest album, if you can really even call it an Ozzy, like, studio album, because it was originally going to be part of, it was part of a box set called The Prince of Darkness, and that one actually had Ozzy doing a cover of the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, which I don't know why that wasn't included on Undercover, but it wasn't. But, yeah, Undercover, I mean, they did release it as a standalone album, as you can see right here, so that's why I included it, but I honestly might prefer the Prince of Darkness version just because of the Bee Gees cover, because that one's really fun, that one's really cool, but some of these are just kind of I wish Ozzy just did more fun covers like the Bee Gees one. I'm not sure why he didn't, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so coming in number 12, Scream. Scream is a very forgettable album, in my opinion. I've heard this thing a handful of times, and I can't even name you one song. And the only reason why I'm ranking this slightly above Undercover is because Undercover just has some really bad moments. This one, I think, although it's not very memorable at all, I can't actively say there's any songs on here that I dislike, like Undercover. It's just kind of like they're forgettable. And yeah, I can't even name you one song off this thing that I actively remember and can, like, tell you is my favorite. Because this is when the quality drop on Ozzy's albums. Well, no. Ozzy's quality drop happened on the Undercover. Undercover was his quality drop. And those albums are so forgettable. They're so generic sounding. There's nothing that stands out about them. All the songs sound exactly the same, in my opinion. And they're just lifeless. They're just Ozzy singing. I mean, Ozzy's got not everyone's going to think that Ozzy has a great voice. I think Ozzy has one of the most unique voices. I don't think he's the best singer in the world, but he does have a unique style. And on these songs, he sounds like Ozzy. But I can't even name you one song off this thing that I actually like. So we're going to move on to the next one, which I actually do know a song off this one that I like. And this is number 11, Ordinary Man. Better than Scream, but it's not much better. The one song that did always stick out to me, well, there's a few standout songs, you know, Straight to Hell, Ordinary Man, the title track, Under the Graveyard, Eat Me, Scary Little Green Men, Holy for Tonight, It's a Raid featuring Post Malone, and that other song, which has Post Malone and Travis Scott. That's not a bad song. So, you know, it has its moments, but not very memorable again. I'd say my favorite's probably Scary Little Green Men off this album, but it is not a top-tier Ozzy album, I'll tell you that much. It's not. It's, again, another generic-sounding Ozzy album, and this is where the quality drop, still with the quality drop. Eventually, he did get rid of the quality drop, which shocked me, and we'll get to that, but yeah, not a very good album as a whole. Number 10 is Black Rain, also not a very memorable album. It's, again, quality drop. I'm going to keep saying that for these, because there is a quality drop. You can't tell me with a straight face that Black Rain's better than Blizzard of Oz. And if you do, you're just lying to yourself. That might offend somebody who actually really does like Black Rain. Don't take me seriously. If you like what you like, I like what I like, okay? I'm not going to be one of those people who just says that you're wrong. But, you know, I'm just playing around. Don't take it seriously. But anyways, Black Rain. It's got some good songs on it. I think out of, like, the modern-day Ozzy albums, not counting the one I haven't mentioned that everyone's going to probably figure out what I'm talking about, but this one, not a bad album as a whole. It's got its moments of kind of songs, but not as generic sounding as the other two, I'll say that much. Not Going Away is my favorite song with this album. I Don't Want to Stop's a good song. Black Rain, The Almighty Dollar, 11 Silvers, Civilize the Universe, Countdown's Begun, Trapdoor. Not a horrible album, like I said, just kind of very generic. Like, you could just mix all those songs up together, and I couldn't even tell you what album it was off of. Number 9, No More Tears. Now, I know there are huge fans of this album, but I'm just, I don't know. I don't think this thing's that great top to bottom. I really don't. I think Ozzy has better albums than this one. You got Mr. Tinker Train. I think that's how you say that. I Don't Want to Change the World. Mama, I'm Coming Home is not a horrible song. It's not really one of my favorites, though. Desire, that's a good song. The title track's good, although it's kind of overplayed now. It's all over TikTok and social media, but it's still a good song. Hellraiser's definitely my favorite off this album. That was a song written by Lemmy. A bunch of these songs were actually written by Lemmy. I think a handful of them were written by Lemmy, of course, of Motorhead fame. Well, I don't even know why I explain that. You fellers on a metal channel, you probably know who Lemmy is. Don't know why I explain that. Time After Time, Zombie Stomp's kind of... That's a stupid song, if you ask me. And Party with the Animals, too. That's a really dumb song. And Road to Nowhere, Don't Blame Me, AVH. I mean, it's a good album. It's not my top-tier favorite Ozzy album of all time, though. And if it's one of your favorites, that's great. Just not really one of my top Ozzy albums. Alright, number 8. This album gets slept on big time, in my opinion. And that's Down to Earth. I hear people hating on Down to Earth all the time, but I've always loved this album. The heaviness, the darkness of it, just the production of it, that muddy kind of evil sound. I love this album. I think if you're comparing this is like the sequel to Osmosis. And it's awesome. I love how dark, like I said, love the darkness of this album. Like, gets me through. Facing Hell, Dreamer, probably my favorite song of the album. No Easy Way Out, That I Never Had, You Know, Part 1, Junkie, Running Out of Time, Black Illusion, Alive, Can You Hear Them, No Place for Angels. Ooh, I think that's a bonus track, actually. But I love this album, top to bottom. I just love the heaviness of this album. It's awesome. And by the way, I've not been given lineups for this. I probably should have, but really the only thing you got to talk about with Ozzy is the guitar player. I think that's what most people care about. If I'm not mistaken, though, I think Zakk Wylde played guitar on this. I'm like 99% sure. I think that's right. And we were just speaking about number 7, and that's Osmosis. I think this is slightly better than Down to Earth. I love the darkness on this album, too. I love it. And, you know, the scary... Well, it's not scary sounding, but it's kind of got like that muddy production. I love the production on this. It actually has Geezer Butler on bass, which really surprised me when I first found that out. But, yeah, I love Geezer. Geezer's my favorite bassist of all time. So you just add that in there. That's just another reason why I love that. Perry Mason, I Just Want You, my favorite song off the album. Ghost Behind My Eyes, Thunder Underground, See You on the Other Side, Tomorrow, Denial, My Little Man, My Jekyll Doesn't Hide. Kind of a cheesy title. Old L.A. Tonight, Whole World's Falling Down, and A.B. I think that's how you say that. But yeah, that's Osmosis. I love it. Doesn't get the credit it deserves. People hate on this album all the time, too. I don't get it. Number 6, Patient Number 9. Now, there are some people out there who don't really like this album, but this thing, when I first heard it, it was mind-blowing. Because you go from Ordinary Man to Patient Number 9. This is a comeback album. The comeback album that Ozzy's needed for a long time, in my opinion. Best album he's had in years. But I love this thing. I remember listening to this the night it came out. Well, I guess like midnight. It blew me away. Every single song off this thing's amazing. The title track, my favorite song off the album. It's so catchy. You cannot tell me that song is not catchy. I've had that thing stuck in my head since 2022. When they call your name, better run and hide. Don't ask me how many takes that took. But yeah, you got Patient Number 9, Immortal, Parasite, No Escape From Now, One of Those Days, 1,000 Shades, Mr. Darkness, Nothing Feels Right, Evil Shuffle, Degradation Rules, I think I said that right, Dead and Gone, God Only Knows, and Dark Side Blues. I love this album. I haven't listened to it in quite a while, though, but I still love it. It's definitely one of my favorite Ozzy albums of all times, which I should have mentioned that earlier. Everything that's after... everything that's after... Black Rain, I'd say I at least... Well, no. Everything after No More Tears, I love the whole track list. That's what I need to say. Because the first ones I do like in chunks, but as a whole, they're kind of in parts. But everything that's Down to Earth and below, I love every single song off those albums. So they could change very easily. Well, my top 3 switches around, but I don't think the 4, 5, 6 could top 3, 2, and 1. I think. I couldn't see that happening. But number 5 is No Rest for the Wicked. I love this album too. I mean, there's not really much to talk about in terms of style because they're all very similar. All the Ozzy albums are, in my opinion. I think a lot of them, they have their own formula. You automatically know it's Ozzy when you hear it because he's got that distinct vocal style. But No Rest for the Wicked has Miracle Man, my favorite song off the album, Devil's Daughter, Holy War, Crazy Babies, Breaking All the Rules, Bloodbath in Paradise, Fire in the Sky, Tattoo Dancer, Demon Alcohol, Hero, and Liar. Love every single song off this. Amazing album. Love the guitar work. Every single thing. Never had a problem with the production on these early Ozzy albums either. I heard people talking about the production being bad on these. I don't hear it. I think all of the Ozzy albums from the 80s sound phenomenal, even to this day. Love them all. Can't get enough of them. So that is No Rest for the Wicked. Honestly, it's kind of underrated compared to the other albums that came out in the 80s. Well, no. I feel like The Ultimate Sin, number 4, that's more underrated. Because I hear a lot of people actually hate on this album now. And I just don't get it. I hear people complain about the production. I hear people complain about the songs. I don't hear that at all. I love the production on this thing. The Ultimate Sin, the title track, Secret Loser, Never Know Why, Thank God for the Bomb, Never, Lightning Strikes, Killer of Giants, Full Like You, and Shot in the Dark, my favorite song off the album. I don't get why people hate on this album. I love it. Every single song's amazing. It's amazing. What can I say? It's amazing. Love it. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Alright, number 3 now. Diary of a Madman. I know some people would rank this as their number 1, but, it's close for me, but as you can see, it didn't make my number 2 or my number 1, but I love this album too. This is with Randy Rhoads on guitar, one of my all-time favorite guitar players, taken from us way, way, way too soon. If you could think about Randy Rhoads still being alive today and playing with Ozzy, man, if Randy Rhoads was still alive and he stayed in Ozzy's solo band, I honestly might like Ozzy's solo career more than Dio's own band. Not gonna lie. Because Randy Rhoads is so talented. So talented. And I still feel that he's underrated. I don't know why. I just feel like he's still underrated. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but he just is the guitar player. After, I guess Jimi Hendrix. After Jimi Hendrix, I think the next best guitar player of all time is Randy Rhoads. And then at number 3, I'd say Dimebag Darrell. And then at number 4, I would say Tony Iommi. Well, that's difficult, because I do love Tony Iommi a lot. Yeah, that's difficult. I'm not sure how I'd do that now. But of course, you gotta have Eddie Van Halen, too. Man, that's difficult. I don't know about top 10 guitars. That list could very easily change. But number 1 has to be Jimi Hendrix. I'd say Randy Rhoads is number 2, though. I would say that much. But anyways, Over the Mountain, amazing. Flying High Again, amazing. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, amazing. Believer, amazing. Little Dolls, amazing. Tonight, amazing. SATO, amazing. And Diary of a Madman, the title track, amazing. Love it. Love every single song off this. Randy Rhoads' guitar work is phenomenal on this thing. Believer's definitely my favorite song off this album. With that I love that so much. But coming in at number 2, some people would rank this as number 1 as well, but for me, it's number 2, and that's Blizzard of Oz. You can't go wrong with this album. I'll tell you that much. Got I Don't Know, Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, D, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley, Nobo Movies, Revelation Mother Earth, Still Away the Night, You Looking at Me, Looking at You, that's a bonus track. But I love this album. Talk about a debut album. This is a metal classic. Songs off this thing are still played to this day. I'd honestly say Crazy Train's still my favorite song off this album. I know Crazy Train has been played all of the time, but there's just something about Crazy Train. I just never get tired of hearing it. I don't know what it is. And I love Randy's solo on that thing. Cool. That's an amazing solo. You want to talk about why Randy Rhoads is one of the best guitar players who ever lived? That solo. Try to replicate that. Or try to replicate any of Randy's guitar work. Yeah, good luck with that. You ain't sounding exactly like Randy, I'll tell you that much. But, whew. I love this album. So many good songs. You put this thing on, you're just in for an amazing time. But, number 1, and it's the only album that's left, and that's Bark at the Moon. I love Bark at the Moon. This has always been my favorite Ozzy solo album. There's just something about this album. You put it on, and I sing along to all these songs. They're amazing. Sadly, Randy Rhoads passed away before he could make a guitar part on this album. I forgot who did play guitars on this. I forgot. But Bark at the Moon is phenomenal. I love this album so much. It's definitely one of my top 20 albums of all time, which I will make that video at some point. You want to talk about an amazing Halloween album? Yeah, this is amazing to put on at Halloween. Bark at the Moon, the title track, You're No Different, my favorite Ozzy song of all time. There's just something about the like kind of like that melancholy feel of that song, and just the kind of gloomy thing about. I just love it. Oh, and I love the solo on that song too. I love all the solos on like these classic 80s Ozzy songs. They're just all phenomenal. It didn't even matter who's the guitar player. It's just always amazing. And Ozzy's vocals, he was in his prime in the 80s. Some people talk about like 70. Well, no. Actually, I take that back because I just remembered Sabotage. Okay, after Sabotage, Ozzy's in his prime vocals with his 80s albums. Because, everything before Sabotage, he sounded amazing. Especially on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, he sounded phenomenal, too. I really do need to read a dictionary, because I'm just saying amazing and phenomenal over and over, because I don't know what else to say. But, yeah. You've got Bark at the Moon, You're No Different, like I said, my favorite Ozzy solo song of all time. Now You See It, Now You Don't, Rock and Roll Rebels, Center of Eternity, So Tired, Slow Down, Waiting for Darkness, Spiders, One Up the B-Side, that's a bonus track. Amazing. I'm gonna keep saying that, it's amazing. I always love that album cover too, of Ozzy, like kind of like a wolf man kind of looking feller. I don't know what he looks like, but I think he is supposed to be like a werewolf in that, because, yeah, Bark at the Moon. But you want to talk about an amazing album? I think Bark at the Moon is the best Ozzy solo album. I know some people might say it's Blizzard. I know some people might say it's Diary. But to me, it's Bark at the Moon. And that's my number one Ozzy solo album. So, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and go listen to Ozzy Osbourne solo stuff. And if you haven't seen it yet, I did do a ranking of the Black Sabbath albums. And I did do a ranking of the Dio albums. That's not really a solo band, it's more of a band, but I did do it, so you can check it out. And until next time, see you later.